When I read John's account of Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead, I'm drawn to the practicality and faith of the two women in the story, Mary and Martha. Women who, from other places in the gospel, we know don't agree on much, but here they share in the same faith, the same frustration, and the same protest. We read in verse 21, Martha says to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have not died." And a few verses later, we read about Mary coming to where Jesus was. She sees him, she falls at his feet, and she says, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have not died." Lord, if you had been here. I hear something profound in these words. I hear the pain of the grief of losing someone that these women loved so much, and the humanness of that what-if spiral that we often do after a tragedy, even if it's just in our minds, right? What if I did something different? What if I saw a different doctor? What if I stayed home that day? Lord, if you had been here. In these words, I hear a deep and profound faith that they have in Jesus' ability to save the life of their brother. These disciples certainly knew about the transformative love and healing that he is capable of. Lord, if you had been here. In these words, I hear a holy and righteous anger, a protest almost. These women knew he was dying, sent word to him, and he didn't come, probably because he knew the sort of danger that this travel would bring. But they knew that this could have been prevented if he were present. Lord, if you had been here. This prayer is one that many of God's holy people pray. Maybe it's not the one that we include on gravestones or in email signatures or when someone asks us to pray, but we pray it. In desperate times, when our children are sick, when that accident is so bad that it changes the course of our lives, when the news of the diagnosis is raw, when the job is lost or the relationship is severed. This is a prayer preserved, thankfully, in the Gospel of John, but reminds us that people before us, too, felt desperation when they looked at the world around them, even when they had faith in the promises that Jesus offered. Lord, if you had been here. In this prayer, I see their ability to carry two things at once: a deep faith in Jesus and also annoyance and maybe even indignation. Their relationship with Jesus wasn't a flowery, whatever you think is best kind of thing. Real relationships challenge, question, and get angry. And also, they are rooted in love and trust. Mary and Martha's discipleship is certainly more real to me in this moment than when Mary is pouring perfume on Jesus' feet. And Jesus is here for it. He doesn't dismiss them for this accusation. He makes room for it and ends up weeping with them. Lent is our greatest reminder, friends, that we follow a Jesus who suffered and experienced loneliness and desperation, and in turn knows us in our suffering. On our very worst days, this God feels our pain when we cry out, "Lord, if you would have been here." In Jesus, God met Mary and Martha on their worst day. And even though their prayer was answered in a way that ours usually isn't, I believe that the prayer of these holy women is preserved to remind us that a true faith challenges, loves, protests, and trusts, even on our darkest days of despair.